Welcome everyone to the Sarhad School 9th and 10th Standard Grammar Tenses Part 3, in which we are going to deal with past tense. I, Priya teacher, will take you through this journey for the past tenses. How exactly to deal with past tenses, the perfect, the continuous, the perfect continuous and the indefinite or the simple past tense when dealing with the CBSE board exams 10 standards, especially gap filling question and the editing question, when how to select the correct option. Okay, let's begin on the journey. Before we move on, since we are going to talk about the past tense, let's have a welcome activity. Just go through these photographs. Do you remember 9th and 10th standard? 10th standard especially. See, can you see yourself, find yourself somewhere in these photographs? Here we have our Maushi. Then Lokesh Dada is also there. See, Vidya teacher is there. Right? Next. The session includes, we are going to deal with a quick recap first of part 1 and part 2. Part 1 was basic tenses introduction. Part 2 was a present tense. And then we are going to deal about the present tense homework. Just recheck the answers. Then we are going to check the past indefinite tense or the simple past tense. Then past continuous and the progressive tense. Then past perfect tense, the completed action word. On past perfect continuous tense, we'll also check the differences between these two types of tenses individually, comparing with each other and how exactly to use them. And then a practice exercise would be given. Now, first a quick recap of part 1. Part 1 we dealt with perspectives of person, first person, second person, third person. Then we talked about pluralizing the verbs, wherein we said that the verbs are pluralized by removing the s or es. Exactly the contradictory formula which we use for nouns. For nouns, we add the s or es to the noun to pluralize the noun. Then we talked about pluralizing the nouns. Then it was forms of verb. It's not the perspectives, it's the forms of verbs. And then we talked about the kinds of verbs, forms of verb, mv, m1, n2 and n3. And kinds of verbs, the kinds of verb is main verb, supplementary verb or the linking verb, action verb, auxiliary verbs, etc. That we talked about. Then we dealt with the sentence structure, that is the subject plus the verb plus the object. Then it was the concept of tenses, which was very important because we are going to talk about the time and the work done. Two things will be compared, the time and the work done in the time. And then we got introduced to the types of tenses in the first part. And then there was a practice exercise given to you. Now, in the quick recap of part 2, we dealt with the home assignment for part 1, then quick recap of tenses in session 1. Then we did the types of tense sentences first of all, that is the affirmative, which makes a statement or only positivity, just gives out a line. Then we talked about this negative type of sentence where you have a negation, no, neither, never, something that indicates negativity. Then we talked about interrogative sentences, which is a question. We also talked about double interrogative sentences wherein you expect an explanation to that question. That's a double interrogative sentence. And then we talked about present indefinite tense, that is simple. Then past continuous, which is also called as progressive. It is just the two different names to one type of tense. Present perfect tense, that is the action is completed in the present, though it is done in the present and it is completed. So whether to compare it as a past tense, consider it as a past tense or as a present tense, since it is just done recently, now, just now, the action is finished. So your stress is all on the action and not on the time. So the action is done, so it becomes present perfect tense and not past tense. Then we talked about present perfect continuous tense, wherein the action is also completed in the past, but it still keeps on doing. The actions are repeated. That is called as present perfect continuous tense. And then we had a practice exercises which we solved together, and I gave you something for home assignment. Now again a welcome activity before we begin on for this session. See, can you remember these photographs? Yes. See, Do you see yourselves 10th standard? Are you there somewhere here? Just check. Next, just check the answers for home assignment. I would ask you to just pick up a snapshot of the answers. Here, if you check answers, all the answers, indefinite tense is simple tense, wherein you are not clear whether the action is finished, completed or not, but it is done somewhere in the present. So you just have got s at the end of the words depending upon the subject. If the subject is singular, the verb will also be singular. If the subject is plural, the verb becomes plural. Same over here. I is singular, so the subject is also singular with the s. Remember, Sheetal is the third person singular. The verb is also singular. Everywhere it is singular. If the subject is singular, the verb is also singular. Just check all the answer. Dogs bark. Dogs plural. The verb is also plural. Apple singular. Verb is also singular. That's what you need to remember. Indefinite tense. Next, you had an homework assignment for present continuous tense. Here it's more important to use the present helping verb, that is is or are or am. Is, am or are, and continuous will be indicated by ing. So is not coming, are facing, is planning, am coming, are playing, is running, is shining, and is plucking. Just take a snapshot of these answers. Next, we had homework for present perfect tense. Here it is going to talk about present, but the action is done. The action is done just recently, now, 2 minutes before, just now. The media has, see, has or have. Has will be used for singular verb and have will be used for plural verb. And then the past tense, the past tense of the verb. So has left, have celebrated, has lost, Ramnik. See, has lost. Singular verb, singular subject, singular verb. Robbers plural, have plural, and murdered past tense. So present perfect tense. Just now, has delivered. Sadhus chant the mantra, chant, chanted, not required right now here. Then her mother has not rested, has run away. Next, perfect continuous tense, have been cleaning, has been cleaning. See, I told you, like, you're going to use has or have. You're going to use has or have for indicating it is a present tense, and you're going to use been to indicate that it's the perfect tense, and cleaning to indicate that it is the continuous tense. So how are you going to implement these rules or these learnings in solving your gap filling or editing examples questions? You are going to check the whole para, exactly what type of tense has been used in the whole paragraph while writing the gap filling. That's the reason you have got the questions also in connectivity. It is a paragraph, it is not an independent sentence. So you've got to check the tense, and accordingly you've got to follow the rules. So for present perfect continuous tense, have been cleaning, has been cleaning, has for singular and have for plurals. Has been lying, has been singing, has been snoring, has been waiting, has been sneezing, and have been racing. Please take a snapshot to record your answers. Next, just check that because we are dealing with the past tense. Girls, do you see yourself somewhere? 10th standard girls, just see, check yourself out. You remember this? Okay, let's move on. Now, past tense. First, past tense. Let's talk about the usage of past tense. Where exactly do we use past tense? It's used to express an action that was completed at a definite point in the past. Now, can there be a difference between the past tense and the present perfect tense? Because present perfect tense is also going to indicate that the action is completed, and past tense is also going to indicate the same actually. But here the difference is going to be, when you talk about past tense, you have focus, you stress more on the time, and when you talk about present perfect, you are stressing more on the action being completed just now. So that is going to be the difference. Let's try to understand that with the help of an example. I did not celebrate my birthday last year. So your complete focus is on the time factor. It's not on the action right now. Then yesterday Rima visited her aunt. So yesterday she visited her aunt. The total focus is on the past. Indefinite, the action is done or not, that is not a concern right now when you talk about indefinite tense. To express a past habit or routine, like in present simple we talk about habit or routine, past habit or routine. He used to eat with his hand when he was young. Something to remember, words often used with the past indefinite tense are yesterday, ago and last. For example, not necessary of course, it could be yesterday, ago and last. Now that we have talked about the past indefinite tense, let's try to understand the structure in the affirmative sentences. It's going to be the subject and just the past tense of the main verb and the object. That's the only difference. Like Roshan completed his work yesterday. I played football on the ground or in the ground. She sang a song in the party. Sang, played, completed. That's the only difference. The only difference is going to be MV2, the past tense form of the main verb will be used. Then we talk about negative sentences in past indefinite tense, wherein the action was done in past but we are not sure whether the action is complete or not complete. Indefinite, it is just an introduction of a negative word. For example, he did not complete his work yesterday. He didn't complete his work yesterday. We can also use a contraction over here. He didn't complete his work yesterday. Then I did not attend the function. Just an introduction of not. But to indicate that it was a past tense, you are going to use did over here to indicate that it is a past tense, and then a negation to indicate that it is a negative sentence, and MV1 because see what is happening, the past tense form is indicated over here. So here you don't need to again use a negative or a past tense of the main verb. You have to use just the first form or the base form of the verb. Like complete is used because past tense is indicated over here. He did not completed his work yesterday. No. He did not attended the function. No, not correct. They did not watch television. Past indefinite tense, it has to be did. When you indicate the past tense in did, there is no need to indicate or add the past tense form of the main verb, right? Next we talk about interrogative sentences. Did subject plus main verb. Once again same thing, you're going to ask the question, so your subject will be replaced by did first. Did will come first and then the subject. Did she move the object? Did she move the object? Whatever it could be. Did your father scold you for your mistake? Do you play cricket? Now this does indicate that it did should be there to indicate that it is a past tense. Do and does will indicate that it is a present tense. So these are not good examples or correct examples for past tense. It indicates present tense. Do you play cricket? Present tense. Does he wash his plate? Present tense. So it's not past tense. So that's what you need to know. Does he go to school daily? Does he go to school daily? Again see. Then past indefinite tense, double interrogative, where you expect some explanation. So it should begin with the WH family word and then does or do and then subject plus MV1 and then the object. Did. When did do or does will not be there. It has to be did. When did father go to the office? When did your father scold you for your mistake? Why do you weep now? Then when do is used, it becomes present tense. For remember forever, it's only did that will help you to make the past tense, because you're making an indefinite sentence. Indefinite action is indicated over here, so you're not going to use the past tense of the action word, but you are just going to use did only and only, then will it be a past tense. So when did father go to the office? Why did your father scold you for your mistake? Or why did she not speak the truth? These are the correct examples for interrogative past indefinite tense. Why do you weep now? Past indefinite tense. No. Whose book do you read? Past indefinite tense. No. Do indicates present tense. Do and does. Note, the past form remains the same for all three persons, may it be the speaker, the listener, or the third person. First person, second, third, and singular or plural, may it be singular or no, it should be singular. Then past indefinite tense, practice examples. Let's solve it all together. Just check. We dash chocolates. Now what was the rule? The only and only rule is you just have to use the past tense of the main verb. We ate. Kalpana Chawla joined. Then rowdy students broke. Just the past tense. Break is not a past tense, it's an irregular verb. Then I lived. Yes, past tense. Then she finished. That's it. Teacher gave. The dignitary is welcome and all. Then take a snapshot of these answers. See, the dignitaries welcomed, ed past tense. Then the car applied, plied. That's it. Take a snapshot of this. Now this is your home assignment. Try to work it out the same way that we did for the previous slide. Next, no, this is not an home assignment. This is also an home assignment. Take a snapshot of this as well. Now past continuous tense, to indicate, it is used to indicate an action that was happening or progressing at some time in the past. The action was happening sometime in the past, it's not happening right now. That is, the main stress is on the incompleteness of the action and also when it was done in the past. So ideally you should expect the words like always or continually in the sentence. When you have such words, it indicates that it is the past continuous tense. And the past continuous is also used for action that was going on during a period of time. So for or since can also be expected. It was pouring heavily at 6 o'clock in the morning. Then she was getting late. That's it. Then past continuous tense, was is indicating the past tense and continuity is indicated by getting, ing. The phone rang when she was having her food, was and having. Then while I was playing, my sister was studying. See, next, affirmative sentence, subject plus was and where, present continuous tense. It has to be past continuous tense rather over here. Past continuous tense, Ram was not surfing the internet. See, was and where plus not plus main verb and ing form. Was or where plus not plus ing form of the verb and then the object. These are the examples. Ram was not surfing the internet. They were not watching a movie. I was not swimming in the water and he was not watching a film. They were not watching a film. Next, past continuous tense, interrogative sentences. See, was or where to indicate that it is past. Continuously will be indicated by ing form and then the object. Was Reena studying? Were you not writing a letter? Were you not writing? The listener could be singular or plural over here. The speaker is one person. Were you eating a mango? It could be one person or more than one. Then was he concentrating, focused? Next, past continuous tense for double interrogative where you expect some explanation. Why WH family word will be there first in place of do, does or did. Do, does for present tense and did for past tense. Then to indicate that it is past tense, was, where, and then subject plus first form of verb and ing to indicate continuity. Examples, why were you playing cricket in the field? What is Tanya doing here? Which newspaper are you reading? Why was the camel not drinking water? Easy to understand, past continuous tense. Let's solve this all together. See, what is the rule? You have to use either was or were and ing form of the verb. So past continuous tense, was watching, was breaking, depending upon the singular or plural form of the subject. Seema was cooking. What? B forms of the verb. How many? 8 B forms of there. Out of that, 1. Which one will we use? Was? No. Just check what the sentence is. If we are talking about multiple or the plural subjects, we will have to use where. What dash you to the railway station. What were you doing to the railway station or on the railway station? Then dash. Again 8 forms of be verb. So let's check whether it is singular or plural. Dash. He dashed to the shlokas at the temple. He. So it is singular. So was he listening to the shlokas at the temple? Was he listening to the shlokas at the temple? Then prem, singular. Was playing. Then I. 8 forms of be verb. Was or where are suitable for past tense. So check was or where. For I was washing. Yes, I was washing clothes. Then the phone was ringing. Then next, past perfect. This is the homework. Take a snapshot quickly. Next, to indicate an action that was completed before a definite time. Now here is the thing that we talked about: past perfect tense and present perfect tense. Past perfect tense, here two things will be indicated: one, that the action was also done in the past, and that the action is completed. Present perfect tense will indicate that the action is completed, but it is completed just now. To indicate an action that was completed before a definite time or before another action that took place in the past. Especially comparison would be there. It indicates desires in the past that have not been fulfilled. It expresses those conditions of the past that were impossible to fulfill. It indicates an action which began in the past and continued up to a certain point of time in the past. For example, I had hoped that she would not decline my invitation. Decline, past tense. But she did is the main answer. But she did. This is the past tense form, perfect past. Then I had done his duty before the next shift started. See, I had done his duty. Third form and had. Had and third form. Then they had done their duty before the next shift started. Plural subject. Affirmative subject plus had plus third form of the verb. So he had taken his breakfast when his mother arrived. She had cooked the food. Third form of the verb and had. Third form of the verb and had not. Now negative sentences. He had not taken his breakfast when his mother arrived. They had not attended the function. The next, past perfect tense, interrogative sentences. Had, subject and third form. Perfect tense means third form of the subject of the verb. Again, had he gone to the theater? Had he attended the session? Then double interrogative sentences. What WH word? Had, to indicate that it is the past tense, and MV3 that the action is completed. Had will indicate the time, and MV3 the main action verb will indicate the quantity or the amount of work, finished or indefinite, whatever. Why had the driver locked the car? Why had you not gone to Delhi? Gone the third form, locked the third form, and had is the past tense. Now again, to clarify another doubt that ideally my students have when we are dealing with past simple tense and past perfect tense, which tense to use and how to make the gap filling answers correct. This is how you deal with it. Let's try to understand this concept using a timeline. For example, 7:30 is the now time, the time that is now, 7:30. When the speaker is speaking, it is 7:30. And we are talking about some activities which were done at 7:15, 7 o'clock and 7:30. For example, here when I talk about past simple tense, what is happening over here is 6:30, I took a shower. Then 7 o'clock, I ate breakfast. And 7:15, I left for my school. So here, the focus is completely on one action and conveying that that action is done, completed. Now, in the next type, that is a past perfect tense, what is happening over here is, same timeline is over there. You're talking about the same activities, but here a comparison will be done. And especially for that comparison, you will be talking about two activities. So you will either have the word before, since, for, relative words. So same timeline, 7:30, 7:15, 7 o'clock and 7:30. Same draft of actions and the sentence structure. See, before I left for school, I had eaten breakfast. So you're relating or comparing two activities. Then you used past perfect tense. Then, and I had taken a shower before I ate the breakfast. So you, again, breakfast has been compared with shower. So when you use past perfect tense, when you mean or when you intend to compare two activities or two actions, and your focus is on comparing them. Here in past simple tense, indefinite tense, your complete focus is on indicating that the action is done. Next, past perfect continuous tense. Let's try to solve these examples together. Past perfect tense, not the continuous tense. So one formula that I told you that you have to use had over there. No has and have will be used. So in even if you have got has and have, you have to use only had, because you have got to convert it into past perfect tense. You have to do your job correct. That is what is editing and error detection is called as, right? No doubt they try to confuse you or give you wrong things. You have to be clear at your concepts. So past perfect perfect tense, had and third form. See, why had you caught the thief earlier? Why had, no, not is that, why had you not caught the thief earlier? Yeah. Then the king had left before the prince came in. Third form of the word leave, left and had. My mother had finished. The waiter, it is irrespective of the singular or plural form of the subject. The waiter had served. Then had you made it on time, had you made it on time, you would have got the task done, right? Then yes, everywhere, because past and perfect tense. Past to indicate the past tense, had to indicate that the action is also completed, you will use MV3. So there's no need to learn the formula and all. It's just sense. When you understand the concept of time tenses, it talks about time and it talks about work. So to indicate the time, you will use the helping verb, and to indicate the work done, you will use the forms, different forms of main verb. Next, where we gone, third form, we had gone to Manali, right? Then when they had entered, my friend had purchased. Clear? Then next, take a snapshot of this home assignment quickly. Be ready, smart students. Very good. Next, past perfect continuous tense. See, it talks about an action that was done in past but keeps on continuing. That is, the action keeps on doing repeatedly. To express an action that was finished at some time definitely and in the past, but which had been going on before it was finished or had recently finished, means what, while the speaker is speaking, that time is compared with the time when the action was done. And then this statement is given. Ramesh had been working in this factory since he came to Delhi. See, since or for. Then at times this tense can be expressed in a repeated action of the past. For example, Geeta had been trying since morning to contact her friend. She is trying every now. The action is completed and again repeated. Action is completed and again repeated. So past perfect continuous tense. Completed but again repeated. So completed and again repeated. So it is past perfect continuous tense. Next examples, affirmative sentence. The formula for affirmative is subject plus had been, past tense had, perfect been, and continuity MV1 plus ing form. This is what you just need to remember, past perfect continuous tense. In a gap filling or an editing paragraph, just check which type of tense does the whole paragraph follow, and then follow the same rule to fill in the blank that is given to you. Fill in each and every blank that is given, asked for 4 marks, and for 4 marks for editing as well. Same way, past perfect continuous tense, if that tense is followed for the whole paragraph, then you would follow had for past tense, perfect, to indicate that it is perfect, it will be been, BEEN. And then to indicate the continuity, MV1 ing. Since and for will be written already. Example, I had been waiting for my friend for 3 hours. You had been suffering from fever since Tuesday. I had been studying for past 3 hours. Next, past perfect continuous tense, negative. Same formula, but you have to introduce a negative word here, that is subject plus had plus not over there. Not been. Not been an MV1 ing. When you are using ing gerund, it has to be MV1. Coming, no, coming cannot be a verb. It has to be coming. Then I had example, I had not been waiting for my friend for 3 hours. Same example, I had not been going to the office since 5th July. Next, past perfect interrogative, had subject been, MV1. See, same, but the thing over here is had will be the initial word of the sentence and subject will be the second word. So now you tell me what would be the formula for explanatory or double interrogative sentences. Only thing is this, here you will have, yes, WH relevant word, the question words. Why had he been doing this for a long time? Had you been cleaning the place since morning? Had you been reading this book since evening? Then double interrogative, same formula like we discussed. Then example, why had the parents been consulting the teacher for so long? Why had he been playing since morning? The thing to be noted down here is this tense is the same for all persons and cannot be used in the passive form and with the verbs which do not have the continuous form of it. I'll explain this in detail later on. Just try to understand only this. Remember this thing. This tense is the same for all the persons. This is more important. May it be the speaker, the listener, or the third person. It is going to remain the same. Like I told you, had. It doesn't change according to the first, second, or the third person. Now let's understand the concept of the structural formations of sentences in the past, past simple, continuous, perfect and perfect continuous tense. The only differences that will happen is in the helping verb and the main verb. We've already discussed the types of helping verbs and the types of main verbs. In past simple tense, the only thing that you need to remember is you're going to use only the past form of the main verb, the action verb. There's no other difference. A main verb, past tense. It could be a regular verb or an irregular verb. Second, continuous tense. It is past continuous tense. It is important that you use was and where, the helping verb, past tense, depending upon the singular or the plural form of the subject. Then the MV1, the first base form of the verb with an ing to indicate that the action is going on in continuity. Past perfect tense indicates that the action is completely done. It's completed, finished. So you indicate that by using had as well as had for past and MV3, that is the main verb's third form, which is the past participle. We've already learned that. That will use you over here. So for past, had, perfect, MV3, the past participle. Same over here, past, perfect and continuous. So first you'll have to use the word for past. That would be had, only had. It's only going to be had, like it is going to be had only. It cannot be has or have in past tense. It has to be had. So past perfect, had, perfect tense will be indicated by been, B-E-N, B-E-E-N, being. And then continuity is to be indicated by the ing form continued to MV1. Let's try to understand and simplify this with the help of an example for each type. For example, indefinite past tense. Indefinite means you are not sure about the action, whether it is completed or not, but it was done sometime in the past. So let's understand. He finished the work, right? Just the MV2 form. Then continuous tense. Continuous tense. The phone rang when she was taking her food. Like I told you, it's going to have a comparison, past continuous tense. So was taking, was for past and continuous first form plus ing. Then perfect tense, that is It was done in the past and the action is also completed. Both the things are done. So had for past and gone, the MV3 form. He had gone there. Then perfect continuous tense. I had been waiting for 2 hours. Now here what's happening is past had been perfect tense and continuity is indicated by ing connected to the first form of the verb. Now here you just need to remember that the basic form of the sentence is subject plus verb plus object. Then it becomes easy if you are sure about what exactly do you want to indicate. And these are the basic forms of a subject that are being used. I, we, they, you, it, he and she. Depending upon this, you would need to select was, where and had been or had. Next, let's solve this together. Sita had been and continuous sitting, had been attending, had been digging, had been watching, had been attending, had been looking, had been playing and had been splashing. Take a snapshot of this slide please. Very good, smart learners. Now this is your homework which I expect you to write in your Fullscape, or if you have prepared a grammar book. Now another thing is that I want you to prepare a grammar book properly, 200 pages or 100 pages, in which you will make the 60% part of your grammar book as grammar, and for the remaining 40% part you will convert it into creative writing section. 2 sections will be there, and both sections will have their individual indexes, wherein you have got notebook marks that will be indicated and a teacher's signature will be there. And I will send it all the grammar notes in the PDF format to be copied down. Right now let us just try to understand all the concepts. Let's not just hurry about writing everything down, just noting down. Register all the information in your brain's mind, and later on I'll send you all the notes for all the types of tenses in PDF format, which you just need to write down, and while writing silently read it so that you revise once again. Thank you so much, and keep learning, my smart learners. Thanks a lot.